this time I had a new perspective, because I knew now that we can live and thrive without consuming animal products. So seeing this torture, this mutilation, this murder of these innocent beings, it led me to the question, if we aren't eating animals for health, and we don't need to kill and eat them to survive and be healthy, what are we doing this to them for? And I assumed there'd be a great answer. I thought there must be a good answer, because everyone hates animal cruelty and everyone loves animals. So surely there's a fantastic answer why we do this. And I looked and I looked and I looked, and I learned the best answers we've got, the best justifications we've got are taste, habit, tradition, and convenience. None of these reasons are good enough justification to cause this unnecessary harm to animals. It's not just about flesh. It's about all the ways animals are being used in our society. All use is exploitation. All exploitation is a form of abuse, and all abuse is immoral. I learned it's about dairy, it's about eggs, it's about wool, silk, leather, products containing animal products, products that have been tested on animals, places that exploit animals for entertainment and for testing. It's about all the ways we use animals. This is when I learned about veganism. I heard a little bit about it before. My friend had gone vegan, who I didn't know very well, and someone came up to me one day and said, "Grant has gone vegan." And I was like, "What the hell is that?" And he said, "I don't really know, but he doesn't sit on leather couches." I was like, "What? That is weird, man. He used to be normal in high school." Vegan. Always thought it was this extreme thing. Unnecessary. Why do we have to be vegan? Why? Because all the ways we use animals causes them harm. Because no living being deserves to be the slave or the property of someone else. I got to a point where that was the only thing that made sense. Since when was it extreme to not want to harm animals? When did that become extreme? What's extreme is saying we love animals and we're against animal cruelty while we pay people to mutilate and torture and slaughter animals for foods and products we don't need. That's extreme. And we need to help these animals in need. Because what is happening to them? I want to remind you what is happening to them. They're getting their beaks cut off so they don't peck each other to death in their confined, crowded prisons. They're having their tails cut off so other animals don't eat them off them. They're having their teeth clipped so that they're out of stress, they don't eat into each other. They are being castrated when they're just babies with no anesthesia. Baby male chicks are being sent into a blender, blending them up alive. Baby boys in the dairy industry are being sent to the slaughterhouse to have their throats slit because they do not produce milk. Their mums are hooked up to painful milking machines and forcibly impregnated, and their babies are taken from them, and all of these animals end up at the same slaughterhouse, humanely slaughtered, which, as we know, means nothing for animals. Humane means to show compassion. There is never a compassionate way to exploit someone. There is never a compassionate way to kill someone who wants to live. What is happening to animals right now is worse than your worst nightmare. What is happening to animals right now, you would not wish on your worst enemy. The worst offenders on this planet, pedophiles, sex offenders, murderers, do not get treated anywhere near as badly as the way we treat the most innocent and vulnerable beings on this planet. And the worst part is that this is so prevalent in our society. Almost everyone is involved in this, knowingly or unknowingly, understanding what they're contributing to or not. This is 1.5 trillion innocent beings that this is happening to every single year. And that's a conservative estimate. That's 1.5 trillion lives who feel pain and suffer just like us, who deserve respect, just like us. We need to put ourselves in the animal's position. One of the best quotes I've ever heard that has fueled my activism is speak up for animals the way you would want to be spoken for if it was you in their situation. What about plants? Don't plants have feelings? And you can sit them down and go, listen, my friend. No, you can say, look, what I would say is, good question. I answer questions like that the first time I've been asked. Good question. I had that question too. Plants don't have feelings. They don't have a central nervous system, no brain, no pain. They don't feel anything as best as we know, and we're quite convinced that that's the case. But even if plants did have feelings and you're a plants' right activist or something, we feed far more plants to animals to fatten them up, 6 to 12 times more. So there are far more plant casualties from feeding plants to animals. So you've answered two things there. We're wasting so much food. Then you can talk about, and all this grain, all this food that we're giving these animals, often we're importing this food from countries with the highest problems with starvation and malnutrition. In fact, all this food that we are wasting, giving to animals to fatten them up, and only getting so little food in return, all that food we could use so much more effectively, so much more efficiently. We could stop wasting it, and we could start putting it to these places who really need it, or leaving it there. You've answered 3 questions there. They're like, oh God, I wasn't expecting all that. When someone says, where do you get protein? You can go, good question. That's what everyone wants to know. Where do I get protein? Protein is found abundantly in plant foods. Fruits, vegetables, grains, nuts, seeds, and legumes. It's in there. I know. I didn't believe it either. It is. And it's good quality protein. Then you can explain, in fact, every single nutrient that you need can be found in those foods. And there are more deficiencies on average in a standard diet than in a vegan diet. So then you've answered that. Are there any other deficiencies? Boom. We don't need to talk about iron. We don't need to talk about vitamin D. And then you can say, in fact, the world record holding strongman is a vegan. Mr. Universe is a vegan. World record holding ultramarathoner is a vegan. And they're like, okay, I get it. You can be super healthy and ripped and muscly as a vegan. Yeah, that's right. And take that seriously, because this is not some mundane diet choice. This is the difference between enslavement and freedom, between torture and peace, between death and life.